Victor, you're writing so eloquently. I've been reading all your stuff about the socialists. Just let's start with this point. One of your essays, very important. The Democratic leaders have kind of been nurturing this movement towards socialism for many years. I'm always interested, for example, Donald Trump says Chuck Schumer is the senator from Palestine. But all of them, they've sort of allowed this socialist disease to creep in, and now it's taken over the party. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think they have. But the question is, why all of a sudden did they get power? I mean, they were birthed by the Democratic Party, who wanted to, do pretty radical things. They destroyed the border. They wanted to get rid of the Electoral College. They wanted to pack the court. That's not new, but I think they got power because they said to the Democrats, we like your agenda, but you don't have the Congress, and the incumbent administration lost. You don't have the presidency now, and you don't have the Supreme Court. You have no power at all. So what good are you? So they took that message and radicalized it and said, you've got to get more radical. And then there was the factor that they were completely obsessed with Donald Trump. The third, though, I think, was this strange nexus between radical Islam and socialism. That came after October 7th. The hatred of Israel, the anti-Semitism. You would think it would have the opposite effect, given the macabre medieval murdering of 1,200 Jews. But on the campuses and in the Middle East studies programs and in a lot of the immigrant communities, that touched off kind of an ebullition. They were happy. They thought, wow, Israel suffered a defeat. And even though it was a simple, brutal mass murder, but those three events really galvanized them. And the Democrats thought that they could appease them, and they woke up one morning and they said, oh my God, these guys are in control, basically.
I should have put the issue of anti-Semitism as absolutely central to this socialist movement. Should have put it in the riff. Maybe we'll do it. But let me play some sound. Here's President Trump on the anti-Semitism and their hatred of Jewish people and Israel. Take a listen real quick.
The polls were wrong again last night when they thought it would be a landslide victory for a hater of Jews and a hater of Israel. This guy hates Jews. Somebody said, oh, that's a little strong. No, he hates Jews and he hates Israel. Abdul El-Sayed, he doesn't love Israel. He doesn't love Jewish people. He hates them. He hates them with a passion that burns in his heart, and there's not a frickin' thing he can do about it. There's not a thing he can do about it, because he hates them.
I'm so glad, by the way, that President Trump absolutely blasted that, because the GOP cannot go soft on anti-Semitism. But it is something, Victor, and then I know it's historical, and you'll comment on it. Anti-Semitism goes hand in hand with socialism and with communism. But that kind of hatred and bigotry will spread, right? I mean, if you hate Jews today, you might hate Catholics tomorrow. You'll certainly hate blacks the day after that, browns the day after that. I mean, there's a hatred embodied in these socialist, communist manifestos.
Yeah, they did. We forget that it wasn't just Hitler that was anti-Semite. Stalin was, too. Mm-hmm. And once you legitimize it, then the Jewish people become a receptacle for every frustrated person who blames these cosmic hidden Jewish forces rather than their own shortcomings. And that's what's dangerous about it. And it's now starting to appeal once the left mainstream it, when you've got people like Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlson on the right, or you've got the far left, and they're coming on almost a 360-degree movement. But the weird thing about it is the only group that's speaking out against it is the mainstream Republican Party and the MAGA movement. Not the Democrats, not the hard left, not the hard right. There's just one group, and they have the finger in the dike, and they're trying to stop it. And nobody quite gives them credit, and I'm glad that Trump brought that out explicitly. They hide behind, I don't have a problem with Jews, I just have a problem with Israel. But then when you hear them talk at length and you listen to them, they always talk about a nefarious group, or in the case of New York, you can see it, they don't really show up to protect a Jewish daycare center was attacked, or they keep population off of a map, the Jewish population off of a map in New York. They do it insidiously, and that's now we're seeing it overtly, especially with El Said and Hassan Piker. He's
Right.
he's just explicit about it.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, regrettably, Jewish synagogues, are being bombed all across the country. And none of these socialists, actually nobody in the Democratic Party stands up. And no one in the Democratic Party seems to want to stand up to the anti-Semitism of the socialists in the Democratic Party. I mean, look, Trump, it's tongue-in-cheek, but there's a serious whack at it. You know, Trump refers to Chuck Schumer, who's the highest-ranking Jewish politician, as the senator from Palestine. I mean, so there you have it. And Schumer never seems to say anything. But, Victor, the other point I want to get to you before we lose you, the Republicans have to beat this. They not in 28 or 32. They have to beat it this year. I mean, I think it's very important. And, you know, the question is how. I don't want them to lose to a bunch of socialists in the midterm elections.
No, I think they have to. I think each of the individual candidates might not have enough money to get the message out, the Republicans, because they're about 50-50. But Donald Trump has a huge fund and associated funds of MAGA PACs, and they've got almost $400 million. And they should spend the whole thing on the midterms. And they should run commercials with all of these candidates, El Said, Chevalier, all of them with their own words. Just let them speak to the people. Just have clips, what they've said. And what they've said is they've said racist things about Jews, white people. They've said terrible things about successful people. They've said things like the oligarchs, and they mentioned Elon Musk specifically, should be tried. Their words will convict them if the people know what they're saying. But what happens, these socialists, they run as progressives, and they say, I'm just progressive. Then they get in office, and they're not even socialists. They're almost communists. So they go from kind of moderate to hard left once they're elected. Mondale, he said he was going to do some of these things, but he never told people he was going to make a list of 850,000 people that he accused of having two homes, and he kind of flipped the American tradition, said, you're guilty until you prove innocent that you're living in that home. That was a very radical thing to do in America. I mean, to invert the idea of innocent until guilty.
I know. I mean, they hide behind the veil of affordability. It's such nonsense. It's a ruse. That's why I riffed on it in the top. And the GOP's just got to punch through that. They've got to just punch right through that.
I don't know why they don't. They should say that every year that Joe Biden was in office, the inflation rate was about 5.2, and Trump was way below it then and now. They got to tell people that.
You're right. Victor Davis Hanson, as always, great stuff. We appreciate it. You take care. Thanks for coming back on. All right, let's switch gears now and talk about Iran, another difficult subject. And joining